welcome to the Personal PR Show. So welcome. So excited to have you. I'm so excited to have you here. Everybody is excited to have you here. By the way, hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Personal PR Show. As I always like to say when I open every interview. Chris, we've made it happen. I'm so happy. And I have to tell you, no, Chris, you know already, I have to tell you guys, I don't know Chris that well. I mean, we connected on Facebook, but it's not that we ever talked with one another. I mean, for 2 minutes before coming on live here, where you can see us now. But other than that, you know, all of the process that we will do in order to get to know each other will be live with you. We really want to share this, I don't know, this creative and let's say pivotal moment with you guys. So Chris,
it's organic.
It's organic, so organic, and it will just flow, right? It's amazing. I love this kind of, you know, this kind of way to get to know people. So, Chris, would you like to introduce yourself, especially to the audience, but a little bit to me as well, because I know a couple of things about you, but not everything. So we're all ears.
Certainly. Jessica, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I greatly appreciate it. So my name is Chris, as you have said before. I live in New Ulm, Minnesota. So that's firmly in the Midwest of the United States. Yes. I am married to a wonderful woman named Becky. We have 3 fantastic kids, Josh, Seth, and Anna. Seth and Anna are twins, and Josh is 13 years old. The twins are 10. And we are just living our best life here in, as some people call it, the frozen tundra. And as I look outside, there is snow on the ground, so I can't argue that. Becky and I are both teachers, but that's not really why I'm here. Aside from being a teacher, I am also a professional speaker. Yes. And that came about because of a scratch in my hand.
Oh.
Yes. In 2015, I was helping Becky get the kids ready for school. Since 2012, I've been teaching online. So I'm well before the pandemic. I'm a trendsetter. What can I say? So I was helping Becky get the kids ready for school. And one of those duties was taking the 2-year-old Seth into the van and buckling him in, all that stuff. Well, I decided to make it fun. I thought, you know what? I'm going to fly him there. So I picked him up and was flying him back and forth to our detached garage. I went too far to the right, though, and scratched the back of my right hand on the garage wall. Well, I looked at it as I'm holding Seth. And to quote one of my favorite movies of all time, "'Tis but a scratch."
Yes. So you said, okay, not too bad, right?
No, it's not bleeding. And so I put him in the car seat, buckled him in, kissed them all goodbye. And as they went on their way, I went on my way into the house to wash my hands and to start my day of teaching. I even put a Band-Aid on. I figured, you know what, let's be safe. Well, 3 days later, I wake up and I found a lacrosse ball-sized bump on my right elbow.
Oh my God.
And so, not usually waking up like that, I figured I should go get that checked out. So I go to the urgent care clinic here in New Ulm. They looked at it, said that it might be bursitis, which is an inflammation of the bursa sac in your joints. Sometimes something bursts in there and a bump appears. And they said, keep an eye on it. Let us know if anything happens. So I did. I kept an eye on it as the bump grew and grew and grew until my right arm was 3 times the size of my left. I look like the Incredible Hulk in mid-transformation.
Oh my God.
It was cartoonish how large my arm was. So Becky found a babysitter for the kids. And when the babysitter came, we went to the hospital, to the emergency room. They admitted me. And while they were taking my vitals, they found that I had also gone septic, which, for those who don't know, sepsis is a reaction that the body has to a foreign agent. And one of the reactions is that it can send a chemical through your bloodstream to fight off said agent. However, that alone can kill you.
Yes.
So I had poison coursing through my veins and a ginormous right arm. Admittedly, Jessica, not the craziest Saturday night I ever experienced, but easily top 5.
Oh my God.
It's memorable. So the next night or the next morning, because they kept me for observation, that doctor came to my hospital bed and said something that I will never forget. She said, "Mr. Gordon, this is beyond us. We can do nothing more for you here. Where do you want to go?" So quickly I said Mayo, as in the Mayo Clinic, which was only 2 hours away from New Ulm. And not only that, but Becky's parents lived in Rochester. So I knew that she, the kids, and Max the dog would have a place to stay for I was sure 2 or 3 days. This would, take to resolve itself. Me with my extensive medical experience. So I called Becky and said, "Hey, they're going to fly me to Mayo, pack some things for you and the kids and bring Max. Just be a couple days." So she gets the kids and Max and drives to Rochester. I'm flown to Rochester in a small plane. They get me to the St. Mary's Hospital, which is the flagship hospital of the Mayo Clinic system. And it's there where they diagnosed me with necrotizing fasciitis, also known as flesh-eating bacteria.
Oh my God. So that was a bacteria all the time.
Yes. Yeah, that was bacteria that was coursing through my arm. And then by the time I had gotten to the hospital in St. Mary's, it had progressed up through my shoulder and then down through my chest and my back.
Oh, and it was eating flesh.
Yes, that's what it does. It eats away the skin and tissue.
The tissue as well. Oh my God.
Yes.
So not just on the surface, but it was like below the surface as well. Oh, it must have been so painful.
It was, it was warm and I felt nauseous and it felt like I had a flu.
Yeah.
Like I had influenza.
But then if you had sepsis, you had high temperature as well, because I had sepsis once 8 years ago, by the way, and I was in San Francisco intensive care for a whole week and I was dying. I was more dead than alive, to be honest, right? Yeah. And and I had 42 degrees of temperature. 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes. So basically you die after 42, you die, right? So you must have been really hot as well, given the sepsis that was going on in your body.
Yeah, usually only my wife finds me hot, but everyone was at that point. So they quickly get me into surgery and then they put me under for an entire week. I was in a coma for about 5 days. What? So not an entire week, but a long time. And so the first surgery, they removed the infected skin and tissue from my arm, shoulder, chest, and back. And at one point it got to the nape of the base of my neck. And then when they removed all that infected skin and tissue and bacteria, it's called debridement. They had to remove every single part of bacteria, because if only one, like an iota, remained, the whole process would start again. So once they cleared all that out, they found that the infection had gone so far into my right arm that they would amputate. If I survived to the next surgery, they would amputate. However, spoiler alert, I still have a hand, because the occupational therapist in surgery saw that it still had hand function. So they elected to remove a 40 centimeter by 10 centimeter flap of skin from my left thigh. Yep. And place it on my right arm and hand. And so since this is my thigh on my hand, I call this my thand.
Yes.
Copyright pending.
Yeah, at least you have humor.
Yes, yeah. And so, and that has helped immensely at some points. So I have my arm saved, but now I have a gaping hole in my leg. And a week before I went to hospital, I had run a what they call a Pi Day race. It was held on March 14th, so 3/14. And so I ran just over a 5K in 19 minutes, 29 seconds.
Oh.
So I was pretty fast.
Yes.
And I had the legs to show it, which means that when they took that giant flap of skin out of my thigh, they couldn't close the wound naturally.
How did they do?
What's that?
How did they close the wound then?
Well, they evicted one of my muscles. They took out my vastus lateralis, which is the outermost quadricep muscle in your thigh. And then they installed knobs on either side of the wound, and then a contraption called a Jacob's ladder, which are like shoelaces, and put that on the inside. So over time, they would tighten the knobs to close the wound.
My God, it must be so painful.
And so it looks like I was bitten by a shark down there.
Oh.
So I have a missing muscle out of my left leg. And then there's still all the exposed skin and tissue and muscle from when they debrided me.
Yes.
They grabbed a skin graft harvester, or as I jokingly call it, a cheese slicer on steroids. This thing was huge. And they ran it up and down my back and my thighs and placed all the shavings on my arm, shoulder, chest, and back.
Oh my God, that too must have been so painful.
Yes, especially since they were still taking skin grafts after I had woken up. So a couple weeks after I had woken from my coma and I started walking, they were still taking skin grafts. And sleeping on a fresh skin graft harvesting site is extremely painful, even with medication. Because it's like, it's a road rash, basically. It's like getting road rash. And so it's, it's very sensitive, obviously. And there's one point where I had also experienced hyperbaric oxygen treatments, which were at another facility. So they had to ambulance me from one place to another. Well, when they brought me back from one session, I got off the gurney, and this is after they had taken skin grafts from the back of my thighs. I lost my balance for just a second, and I tapped my hospital bed. I yelled so loud, 3 nurses came running to my room. And I told them what had happened. They just like, wimp. They walked back out.
Ah.
I know that sounds mean, but I had fantastic nurses, and I have a story I'll share shortly that shows, how fantastic they were. Anyway, so all of that happened, all those surgeries, all those procedures happened to, so I could start healing again. But even though they took away the physical flesh-eating bacteria, there were still personal bacteria in my mind, thoughts and questions that I had no answers for. I look at my body and I wonder, how am I going to operate physically when I'm fully recovered, if I could fully recover? How are my relationships going to be like with Becky, the kids, or other family members and friends, colleagues? How was I going to deal with everyday stresses? And, we in America, our healthcare system is, world known for good things or bad things. How was I going to afford this? How are we going to be sitting financially once I left hospital? So all of those thoughts and questions were circling my mind, and they were starting to send me down a spiral because I had no answers, Jessica. Thankfully, though, they didn't have time to ruminate, because during one of our daily meetings, our daily sessions, Becky came to my hospital room and started telling me all the wonderful things our friends were doing for us. People were shoveling our walkways and snow blowing our driveways. people were stopping by Becky's parents' house to drop off toys and food and play with the kids. My brother, who lived in Michigan, which is about 500, about what was it, 800 kilometers as the crow flies. He flew in from Michigan the moment he knew what was going on with me and stayed a week and a half, sometimes sleeping in the hospital so he can get the latest updates on my condition. And also buying me an iPad so I could have some entertainment while I recovered. One of Becky's high school classmates started a GoFundMe account, which offset all the lost wages I had incurred because I ran out of sick days really quickly. I was gone an entire quarter from school. The last fourth quarter, I was gone. Becky told me all of these things, and I could almost physically feel that personal bacteria wash away. And I was left with what I now call the attitude of gratitude, or TAG for short. I think that's backwards in your vision. Hopefully it's not. But I started thinking about what was good in my life. And that came in three questions. First of all, what good things did I have in my life? I started with that one. And when we think that question, when you think about what is good in your life, Jessica, what pops in your head?
My daily gratitude list. So I'm alive, I'm healthy, I have my family, and the many other things. But these are the first three things that I think about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I thought of too. And many people think that. But then I started thinking about, what about the small things? What about those seemingly insignificant parts of our lives that actually bring us that daily dose of joy? So I thought about the Netflix show Daredevil, which had recently just dropped on Netflix at the time I was in the hospital. So on that iPad, I was able to binge watch it in between surgeries, when there was a lull and, I had no visitors. I could just sit and watch that as much as I wanted to. The nurse's station was thankfully right across the hall from my room. So like when I yelled, that's why they were so fast. They were literally 10 feet away. Yes. And then there's the hospital pizza.
Oh, was it good?
I'll tell you, I know a lot of people have varying degrees of acceptance about hospital food. The hospital pizza at St. Mary's was phenomenal.
Ooh.
Fantastic. Chef's kiss. Maybe it was because I hadn't had pizza in a month when I finally had it. Who knows? But it was great at the time. And so today I think about this stuff. I think about door hinges and how they allow us to walk through walls, essentially. I think about the special laces I have in my shoes. I don't have regular shoelaces. I have elastic bands called lock laces that help me keep my shoes on, keep my shoes on when I'm running. I don't have to worry about them untying, and they fit really snug. I think about chargers. I think about phone chargers and how, and this is probably a bad thing now, how necessary they are for our lives. Yes. If you think about it, we panic when we can't find a phone charger.
Oh yes. Yeah,
and so I think about that. And then there's this, I'm going to give you a warning. Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to lift up my shirt. I'm going to show you something.
Yeah.
So for your viewers here, these are my skin grafts here.
Oh my God.
That's what my armpit looks like.
Yeah.
Now, if you notice that it's all bumpy, I look like a discount Deadpool. Oh. You know who Deadpool is? He's a cartoon or a comic book character. Well, okay. Skin grafts are non-porous, which means they don't sweat, which means I don't have to use deodorant on that arm. I can make a stick of deodorant last for 6 months. You know how much money you can save on a stick of deodorant by only using 1/2 of your body for it? Not a lot. No. I don't have a money bin of deodorant. What's that?
There are expensive deodorants as well. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. So I'm not like swimming in the money savings from using deodorant on only one arm, but it's kind of fun. And it's something that I appreciate in a weird way. And so I look for as many things around me that I can appreciate, because the more appreciation I find for things around me, the richer I feel and the more value I see around me. And that really helps me develop not only my gratitude, but positivity. Because we all have bad days, Jessica. But if you could look around yourself and say, hey, you know what, at least I have this painter's tape, which I can use for making notes in a book I don't have to write in, or for painting, its intended purpose. That's great. I'm thankful for, my iPhone as well, with my Captain America holding Mjolnir. I love this phone case.
Oh, cool.
I look all around at me and I'm filled with riches because of the value I place in tiny things.
Yes. Oh my God, not just the big things like, for example, family, but also really the tiny things that you can find so many every single day all around you. I love this. I love this.
Yes.
And this attitude of gratitude.
Yes, exactly. And that's where I started was, wow, I look around me, I have all this wealth around me that I never even thought about before. And it really increased my gratitude and positivity. And then I thought about who I appreciated. And of course, when we think about that, the big parts of our lives come into play: family, friends, colleagues, well, some colleagues, neighbors, some neighbors, but also I thought about the nurses in St. Mary's. And one story I like to share is that when you are in the hospital for a long time, they sometimes put a poster on the wall in your room called the Getting to Know You poster. And one of the questions on that poster was favorite movie. Now, Jessica, I just showed you my Captain America holding Mjolnir phone case. I have a wedding ring. My wedding ring says, I love you in Arabic, which is the Star Wars language.
No way.
And I quoted Monty Python a few minutes ago. So you could probably guess what my favorite movie of all time is.
Star Wars.
Well, close. Blazing Saddles.
What is it? I've never heard of it.
Blazing Saddles is a 1974 Western spoof. It's a parody on Westerns written by Mel Brooks, who you might know from, Men in Tights, Spaceballs. It is an absolute classic that obviously can't be remade because it is not PC. It tackles racism and prejudice in the most hilarious way. And I absolutely love this movie. It's a masterpiece. Well, one Monday, I'm lying in my bed. Chris, the head nurse, comes running into my room. I have no idea what's going on with her. She looks at me and she starts stumbling her words. She goes, Chris, I was in a garage sale this weekend and I saw this and I thought of you and here it is. She handed me a DVD copy of Blazing Saddles.
Oh my God. Without knowing that it was your favorite movie?
No, she knew, but that's the point. She knew about it. But we hadn't talked about it before. She saw it on the poster. He is the head nurse of the department.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just an item on her to-do list. I am something she has to take care of to move on with her day. Yes, but she thought of me with such friendship that she recognized that movie in that garage sale bin as being my favorite movie, and that not only did she recognize it, she bought it for me.
Exactly, which is even one step further. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Exactly. That movie, that copy of Blazing Saddles is one of my prized possessions. Not because of its market value, but because of the love and friendship in which it was given.
Oh my God, it's like an emotional button for you. You see it and it's like pressing a button that immediately triggers an emotion, like this emotion of gratitude and warmth and kindness. Lovely. Wow. Are you still in touch with her?
Once in a while we see her because we go to Rochester still to visit Bill and Dee. And before the pandemic, I was always, well, not always, but once in a while when I would be in town, I would run from Bill and Dee's house to the hospital. It's about maybe, what would be 6 kilometers away. And I would try to visit the nurses at their shift change. So I would see as many of them as I could. And once in a while I would see her. And in fact, we saw her in a restaurant one time in Rochester, and we talked and stuff. And I tell her, how much I appreciate her. And I try to share that with all my nurses that helped me in that time, that their love and their friendship and their professionalism made me who I am today.
Definitely. Oh my God. Wow, this story is amazing. And I mean, it really, like the way you told your story, it feels that this hero's journey led you to an outcome, because in the hero's journey, we have, you know better than me, like challenge, choice, which is a pivotal moment, and then an outcome, right? And
Yes.
if it feels like the outcome, which it's something really that you embody, like you're embodiment now of this total gratitude for everything in your life, the good thing, like the bad, like of course the bad things and the good things, but at the same time, mainly like the small things and the big things and so on, right? So this is actually what I wanted to say. And it feels that like it's not only what you embody today, but actually your mission as well. Because I think, like, I don't know you that well, but I'm sure that you being a professional speaker, that you go and talk to all of these amazing audiences about gratitude. So gratitude is not just something that you personify, but something that you teach to people, I would say, right?
Yes. And so that's what I do with TAG, the attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
And so the T stands for think of all the good things in your life, which we discussed. The A is acknowledge the appreciated, which we also discussed. And the G, which I haven't really touched on yet, is give others a reason to be grateful. And so that's, that you could buy someone a gift, or it could be holding a door for someone.
Yes.
Which is criminally overlooked, because you're basically stopping your own progress to help someone else out so they can move forward. And we never know what's going on in someone's life, Jessica. Maybe that door, holding that door for someone, could be what could help them see a little light in their dark world. And so I try to figure out ways I can help others. And one of the ways I've discovered is speaking, is sharing my message. I've also created a podcast called Scar Bearers, where I allow others who have gone through life-changing situations to tell their tales of trial and triumph. I love alliteration. And I'm trying to expand in how I can serve others with TAG, because I don't know if you've ever done this, Jessica. Playing tag, like the playground game by yourself, is boring and embarrassing. Just go with me on this.
Yeah.
But playing tag with others is exciting. It's fun. And the more the merrier. The more people playing tag, the more fun it is. And the same thing is with the attitude of gratitude. I mean, yeah, I could practice gratitude myself all the time, but it's when I help others do that, and I help them see what goodness they have around them, and I can help give them ideas to help others. It just, it's like a good virus. It spreads and spreads and spreads, and it creates a more positive community, a more positive organization, a more positive world.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, I love this. And this is really your mission, your purpose in the world today, right?
Yes. Yeah. I find that if I were to keep this to myself, yes, I would be happy and healthier, but I am motivated. I'm driven to increase other people's gratitude, because I hope no one ever contracts necrotizing fasciitis. But we all have struggles. We all have things we have to deal with. And if you don't have the tools to help you overcome those situations from a a mindset point of view, then the struggle may be life, it may last the rest of your life, because where your thoughts go, your mind and body will follow. So if you have positive thoughts about something, even if there are bad things happening, if you have positive thoughts and you keep stuck on, if you ruminate on those positive thoughts and have more of those, you're going to develop a positive mindset and take positive action. Yes. And of course, the opposite is true as well. So I try to help people develop that positive mindset by letting them see, wow, there's so many positive things around me. I'm going to focus on these positive things and let that, inform my mindset. And then I'm going to take action on those positive thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, I love this. This is such a good example of what, this kind of motto that they say. We hear it pretty often, especially when it comes to personal development and personal branding. They talk about, make your mess your message. And yes, your story is perfect. Like, it's the perfect description, it's a perfect example of this, right? I love this. So, and you created your message, but you have so many platforms where you spread this message, because we've talked about your podcast, right? I had a look, like before this interview, I had a look up at your social media. You're everywhere, on every social media platform and more you are, right? It's amazing. And then you said that you're a public speaker as well, especially in schools. So also in terms of target audience, people that you reach so many different target personas and so many different niches. It's amazing, because I imagine that when you go to school, to talk in schools, you especially talk to youngsters, right? But then a podcast will mainly be listened to by adults, right? So this is super strategic. Like, you are covering so many different, let's say, segments of the audience. That's genius.
Well, thank you. Yes. And, I tried going with first the students, because they like this. I've heard, when I started out, I was hearing over and over again, inch deep, an inch wide, and a mile deep. Because the niches is in the riches.
I am.
Because if you try to spread yourself out and try to serve everyone, you're not going to serve anyone.
That's true.
So I started with the students, but then I realized, teachers are people too. I can talk to the teachers. So now I have started speaking with teachers, and I started presenting at health conferences. Like a couple months ago, I went to St. Paul, which is the capital of Minnesota, and I presented at the Midwest Health Promotion Conference. So I'm serving other professionals, and from there I connected with some city leaders, and I'm going to help them develop some gratitude practices and help them with their wellness campaign in a town about an hour away from where I live. And so it was by starting small that I was able to branch out. But and I still have plans. I am working on a book right now, and soon, thank you, it's going to have the second half of it's going to be a journal where people can practice tag on a daily basis and just be able to reflect on what they have positive in their lives. Because it's been reported that humans now have the attention span of a goldfish, or even worse. And so we're distracted by all these different things that a thought we had 10 seconds ago is gone. So by writing it down, you can look back a couple of weeks ago and say, wow, yeah, that's right. That day, that was an awesome day. It wasn't a perfect day, but it was an awesome day because this happened, and I got to talk with this person. And so that's why I'm hoping with the book and, the book/journal. And then I'm going to work on a course eventually to help. I'm thinking of teachers and helping teachers work through, and increase their gratitude, but also set a goal for themselves. Because when I was recovering, I felt compelled to start putting myself out there personally to challenge myself. I remember meeting with my doctor my plastic surgeon, and I asked him, so what are the limitations with my new body, essentially? And he said, you know what, Chris, you're the first marathon runner that's ever contracted this in my experience. So you tell us.
Oh,
I thought that was a green light to do as much as I can. So as of January of this past year, January 2022, I earned my first degree black belt in Taekwondo. I'm now training to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And I work out every day. I do usually body weight workouts. I'm part of a run club here in town, and I try to challenge people to not to pass on perfection and go for greatness.
yes.
Because my body's not perfect. Like I showed you, it's like a topographical map up here. So I'm not going to be perfect by any means physically, but by accepting who I am, accepting especially the good parts of what my situation brought upon me, by setting a goal and then working toward that goal consistently, I might reach perfection in some aspect once in a while, but I will always be great.
Yes. Oh, certainly.
So that's what I choose to do.
Yes. Oh my God, Chris, this is amazing. And now this question comes very spontaneously. I need to ask you, how can you run like a whole marathon and like pretty fast because you're qualifying for the Boston Marathon and still miss a muscle in your leg? Are you still missing it, or has it grown?
Oh yeah, it's not there. My thigh concaves where the muscle would have been. Yeah, so I have a divot. Yeah. So the other muscles just they compensate. They're a little stronger, each of them. So they had to pick up the load. And for a while, there was a bit of shifting going on in terms of the muscle loads my body was taking on. And so I had gone through some pain, some growing pains, ironically, at my 40s, which is weird, but it's shifted now, and the muscles have gotten stronger. And in October, I ran a 10-mile race in 72 minutes. 10 miles is like 16 kilometers. So, it's doable. I can definitely do it.
Oh my God. That's why you're wearing the cape.
Well, yeah, one reason, yes. You notice the cape, and I even have my insignia on the back, my logo. And I wear the cape, Jessica, to inspire people to become superheroes, because as I tell, especially the students, we are like superheroes. We all have an origin story.
Yes.
We all have some event that has changed our lives. And when we are faced with those events, we have a choice. And that choice determines the trajectory that our lives take going forward. And people have this misconception that the superhero receives their origin story from their powers, or their powers come with their origin story. Batman doesn't have superpowers. Hawkeye, Black Widow, Shuri, before she became Black Panther, spoiler alert, they didn't have superpowers, but by the choices they made, they became superheroes.
Yes.
And so that's what I want to do with my message is I want to turn students, teachers, whoever hears my message into a superhero by thinking of all the good things in their lives, acknowledging the appreciated, and then giving others a reason to be grateful so they can develop their gratitude, their positivity, and their resilience.
Yeah, gratitude, positivity, and resilience as well. Oh my God, they also fit with one another. This is amazing. And this is something, everybody should hear this, of course, but especially kids, because this is like a lesson for the rest of their lives. If they get it, if they internalize this message already when they are, kids or teenagers. And so this is going to serve them forever. Oh my God, this is amazing. When they already get their first challenges, they already know how to reframe those.
Yes. And that's why I like reaching out to kids, because as you said, the sooner they develop that gratitude practice, the easier it's going to be to handle those tough challenges.
Yes.
And maybe it won't be easy, but they'll be stronger.
Stronger, exactly,
Yes.
because they have this ability, to reframe and then really see the positive. And I'm grateful. So my next question, Chris, is about your kids. We've talked about kids in general. How about your kids? How grateful aren't they?
They're pretty grateful, but they are kids. So, once in a while, I don't want to, dirty my, show off my dirty laundry. They're kids though, but they do appreciate what I have gone through, and they do see more positivity around them because of what I have had to do to increase my own positivity.
Yes.
And they're all hard workers, in their own regards. They're all musicians, they're all athletes. And so they know the value of hard work. And so that's another reason why I push myself, is because I'm an example for them. If I were to sit on the couch all day watching Netflix and eating bad food, well, that's what they're going to think that is what a survivor does.
Yes.
I survived. I survived death. I'm going to just sit on here and watch The Crown, which is really good. I have to say, we do watch that, my wife and I, but it's one of the few shows we watch. But that's not my character. That's not who I am. And that's not the kind of father I'm going to be. I'm going to be the dad out there who can race their kids, who's still beating high schoolers in races, who, wants their kids to see that life is tough. You just have to be tougher. And I have the tools to help you with that.
Yes. Oh my God, I love this. But then how about the rest of your family? So how did the relationship to your wife change? And if it has changed positively, which I assume, have you ever, addressed this very topic with other couples? Because maybe you could actually go and talk at a conference for couples as well. I see.
Never thought of that. Yeah,
you've never done that?
That is a good thought. But she was my superhero. She was the one that got me out of the darkness. And I try to, show her as much as I can every day that I love her and I appreciate her. And I don't always bring up that story, but she knows. And I make it a point of telling others that, because they have to realize that person probably lives in their, is in their social circle as well. You just may have to see it.
Yes.
But no, she is my superhero, and I am obviously the better for being with her.
And does she wear a cape as well, because she's a superhero?
Once in a while. She's more of a Star Wars girl. So she has a Princess Leia hoodie with the buns. So she's got that.
Oh my God. So we have two superheroes here. So cool. Oh my God, this is amazing. And Chris, one question that I ask everybody towards the end of our interview is the following. So what is it? What is a question that I haven't asked you over the past, let's say, 45 minutes, but I should have asked you?
Let's see. You asked about the cape. Maybe about that picture up there.
I was thinking, yes, it looks like a heart.
That is a heart, but the picture right there.
Right there. Sorry, that one. Yes. What is that?
That is a picture of me and Weird Al Yankovic. Never heard of Weird Al Yankovic? Type in the words Amish Paradise in Google, and that'll open up a treasure trove of the genius that is Weird Al. The reason why I have this up here, and I'm going to show this here, is because it's a picture of him hugging me. You can tell I'm pretending not to really enjoy it, even though I was screaming like a excited little kid inside. And it says, to Chris, thank you for meeting me, Weird Al Yankovic. And so the reason why I have this picture up here is because I had seen him in concert before. I've seen him 3 times before. Fantastic performer. You know, he is even better live than he is on his recordings. But I had this opportunity to meet him in person, and it cost a bit of change. But I thought about it and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it, because you have to take advantage of the opportunities life gives you. And I absolutely love this picture because it reminds me, hey, if I didn't take that chance, I would not have this great picture. And I also love how I didn't just smile with him. I went with a bit. And because I put myself out there and went with a bit, this picture is fantastic. I'm sorry I sound egotistical, but, you know, good on me for having a fun idea and going with it. And not just, oh, this can be stupid, you know, good, because you know, I would have had regret otherwise. Exactly. And so I didn't want to live with the regret. I'd rather have a silly picture than a normal picture.
Yes.
So this picture holds a lot of meaning for me. And so I guess that's a question that you could have asked, but obviously it's just a picture on the wall. You would have probably looked, unless I had a big sign pointing, ask about this.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it maybe for other interviews, please, like a little arrow here and here and here, and people will ask.
Yeah, just to do points like, yeah, so anyway, yeah.
Looks a bit obvious, but it works, right? Because people then really, you know, you capture their attention to that thing. Oh my God, this is amazing. And now I have to ask you, what is the picture just above your head? Because we talked about all of the other items on the wall, but that one.
That is a picture from an artist at a comic book convention I met. That is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Deadpool. I've always loved the Ninja Turtles ever since they came out in 1984. And Deadpool, as I referenced earlier, I look like a discounted Deadpool. He's a character who had cancer and it ravaged his body. And so through, you know, experimentation that turned him into the person he is now, the Merc with a mouth, he has scars all over his body. That's why he wears a mask and the suit. And so since I refer to myself as a discount Deadpool, I figured, oh, that's kind of funny. And also, I've never seen a picture with him and the Ninja Turtles before because they're different properties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Deadpool's Marvel, and the Ninja Turtles are owned by Nickelodeon now. So I don't see Nickelodeon and Deadpool very often together. You know, SpongeBob and, you know, SpongeBob with knives or something. It's something you don't usually see. So.
No, definitely not. Oh my God. So you saw it and you thought, I have to have it.
I did, you know, it just fit my character, and I switched them up in a while. I switched the pictures up, but that's the one that's up there right now.
Yeah. And this is, I assume, part of the gratitude as well. Like you, every day you see them and then you have these moments of gratitude there as well, right?
Yes, of course, because I'm 48, Jessica. I'm almost 50. And when I was growing up, I didn't really think about, I wonder what my dad is really excited about. I wonder what things really excite him and make him laugh and he enjoys having in his life. And so being an almost 50-year-old in a time when Marvel movies are so prevalent, comic books are all around us. And these are things I used to love and still love, but in a time when in the 80s, they were very popular. So I was maligned and picked on because I love these things. And now they're all around and I can revel in the geekiness. And so I look at that picture and say, you know what? Yes, I appreciate that picture because it exists. And I can afford to buy it. Not that it's very expensive, but I can have it and I can love it for what it is.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. I love how you see, you know, prompts for gratitude everywhere. And you're totally right. I mean, we should be more mindful and more present. And then we would see really like things to be grateful about really everywhere. I don't know, like everything I see here on my table, I could be great. I am also grateful for it, especially this, which we discussed. The charger absolutely saves our day, our life every single day. Otherwise, we'll be, isolated from the whole world.
Yeah,
So,
you would be stuck in the side of a road. People wouldn't know.
exactly, right? Absolutely. Oh my God, Chris, this has been amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for giving us this example of how you can really turn your mess into your message, because we know that a lot of people are doing that, but I'm afraid, I have this feeling that most people are still not doing that. People that have a lot of like even just one tragedy in their life, maybe they don't really find the strength and the gratitude and so on to really overcome that challenge and then go out and help people that are having exactly that challenge or a similar one, right? So it is as natural and organic as you made it seem so seamless. It's not easy. Like what you're doing is certainly not obvious. So thank you for your message and for making it seem so easy, because especially with kids, in a way, you have to make it seem easy, right? Because they wouldn't understand otherwise.
Yeah, and if it were a huge struggle, they probably wouldn't do it. So yeah, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today, Jessica. It's been a fantastic conversation on my end.
Oh, thank you. I'm really, really happy that you enjoyed it. And yes, we will be sure to include all of your links in the comment section of this post. So. Excellent. Right. So because you have a huge link tree, it's not a link tree, it's like another platform, but it does include all of your links. And I had a look at it, like 13 links or even more. Wow. Congratulations. As I mentioned at the beginning of this live, you're everywhere. Yeah. Congratulations from a personal PR perspective. I really need to acknowledge you for this too.
But it also helps that I was born with 2 middle names. And so as I was starting my journey, I figured, well, there are a lot of Chris Gordons out there, but as far as I know, there's only one Chris DT Gordon. Yes. And that really helps with the Google searches.
So what are the second and third names?
Daniel and Thomas, though I do like to joke around and say darn terrific.
That's true. Good way. Well, it works as well, so why not? Yeah. Awesome. Then thank you so much. Enjoy the snow in Minnesota. We have snow here as well in Zurich, Switzerland. So it's cold on both sides. Let's just enjoy the snow as long as we have.
And you enjoy those mountains because it's just flat here. It's like a pancake. So you enjoy it.
The whole of Minnesota is flat or just
mostly? Yeah. Where I'm at, it's like farmland.
Ah, yes, so, that's why.
Though we do live in a river valley, so we have the biggest hills within like 100 miles of places almost because of the valley. But otherwise, it's pretty boring. So you enjoy those mountains.
Thank you so much. I'll think of you next time I go to the mountains or
definitely. Sounds good.
Chris, thank you so much for being here today and for making your message amazing. So many people are grateful to you.
Thank you, Jessica. Greatly appreciate it.
Take care, my dear. Bye-bye, Chris. And bye, everybody. See you tomorrow for the next episode of the Personal PR Show. Bye.